Yeesh. I'm telling you, people are losing their minds. I don't know if it's something in the water in this country. I don't know what the hell is going on, but True Crime Daily. This title says, something out of a horror movie. Mom, boyfriend, arrested after kids found naked and bloody. Published July 18th, 2023. This is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I mean, if you're hearing the audio version of this, you can't see the picture, but I mean, I'm going to describe it to you. It's a picture of just, you can see it in their eyes. It's just like, they're not there. These two individuals, it's a man and a woman, they're lost. These two are lost in the sauce. You can tell. I don't know. Certain people do like facial expressions that, I don't know if it's because it's a picture, it's a mugshot, but just like, yeah, and I'm going to say, judging this person by their looks, dude, that lady looks like she does not give a single fuck. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am based off of the title that we just read, but she looks insane. This dude, I mean, he already looks out of his mind, but she looks, obviously just based off of the picture, she looks like a calculating, malicious person. Let's read about what happened. Again, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A 34-year-old woman and her 38-year-old boyfriend were arrested after her two children were found walking down the street naked and covered in blood. According to the criminal complaint filed by the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office, on July 13th, the Milwaukee Police Department received a call from someone who informed them that two naked juveniles, estimated to be 13 years old and 9 years old, were walking around the neighborhood with blood on them. The children reportedly had bruises on their bodies and red marks on their thighs. The caller reportedly noticed a woman yanked a male child into a house. The children were later determined to be 7 and 9 years old. Milwaukee police arrived at the scene and learned the woman, Katie Koch, allegedly violently dragged the child back to the house. As the officer got closer to the house, he heard what sounded like a quieted cry or whimper. Koch then exited the home through a side door. The responding officer spoke with Koch, who appeared to be flustered and anxious. She reportedly said her father died and her kids broke a window. The officer went inside and noted it looked like a terrible hoarding situation, with trash all over the place and feces smeared all over the walls of one of the bedrooms. Holy shit. While inside, Koch was putting a diaper on another child, who also had red marks on his body. Backup officers arrived, and Koch allegedly told them, I'm so sorry, I'm so afraid." According to the complaint, there was a mound of trash and garbage outside of the children's bedroom, which also smelled like urine and feces. A latch was placed on the outside of the door to lock them in. What? A latch was placed on the outside of the door to lock them in. Oh, okay, so they were like, they were torturing the kids. This obviously had, wow, this just went south even more. Probably like 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Jesse McFadden case. If you don't know, this is in Henrietta, Oklahoma. Person killed 6 people and himself. 6 people, his wife, 3 stepchildren, and 2 of his stepchildren's friends. Why I mentioned this case, where he had the 2 friends, was in a room that had latches on the outside. The house in different parts of it had these wooden, it's like a piece of wood that was like put into the wall, and it had collar chains on them, long collar chains that he would use to put on the girls, because they were girls, but they were minors. He had them on the kitchen counters as well. I mean, dude, that's a complete house of horrors. I mentioned that because it's very coincidental that this case he had latches on the outside of the door of the children's room. I mean, there was some sinister shit happening in this house. 100%. That the kids were out in the streets, naked and bloody. Even within its own, like, how horrible it is, dude. Maybe, sometimes it's like a sliver of light that comes in, dude. Maybe this is what needed to happen in a certain way, so that authorities can get involved, and dude, maybe kids can be taken away from this horrible family. They were doing something to these children, 100%. No parent puts latches outside of a child's door, if not to want to keep them in a place permanently there. Wow. Okay. Cox said she lived at home with her boyfriend, Joel Mankey, who refers to himself as their stepfather. When officers spoke with Mankey, he allegedly said he boarded up windows in the kids' room to keep the children from bothering the nosy neighbor. Boarded windows, latched door. He added that he locked the door to prevent them from walking around the house at night. Right. Over the 3 years that Cox had been living with Mankey, she reportedly never took them to the doctor or enrolled them in school. She said she homeschooled them, but admitted she doesn't have a proper curriculum for them. A witness told police he saw one of the children sitting outside naked and said they looked like a caveman when he saw them walking. Several other witnesses said they had never seen the children before. The complaint says the children's hair had to be shaved at the hospital because it was filled with feces. Cox also reportedly acknowledged that the home is not habitable. Cox and Mankey were arrested and each charged with 2 counts of chronic neglect of a child and 2 counts of false imprisonment. Cox also faces the charge of neglecting a child where specified harm did not occur. According to WISN-TV, in court, Assistant District Attorney Mallory Davis said the situation was something out of a horror movie. That's insane, dude. Not everyone was meant to be parents. I've mentioned this before. People are like, you can't say that. That's not something that could... Listen, I think that while it shouldn't be something complete, like a huge psychological test, bro, but I do think that people, before they have kids, dude, they should take some type of, like, test. Men and women. Because, bro, how many situations like this are going to continue to happen? I mean... Again, we only know of this because the kid, the 2 kids, they went out of the house and they were all like bloody and naked. But who knows the shit that happens behind closed doors? Your neighbor could well be someone that you have no idea does these type of things. And again, we only know of it because of them leaving the house. That's crazy. The only reason why in the Jesse McFadden case, the police went to the house was because there was a missing persons alert out for one of the 2 friends that were abducted. But that shit had been going on for like a year or something or 2. And in that specific case, there's many connections to people around the community. It's a lot deeper than what the news has reported on up until this point. The case was closed like a day after it was discovered. They never picked up any evidence. They left all the computers. They left everything there. They left all the cell phones that belonged to the victims. Everything. Like, the police didn't do anything. They just closed the case, and they didn't even close the house down. So people, the families were going in and out of the house. Mind you, I understand, because obviously they're trying to look for answers for their family members, but they were touching everything. Evidence was completely destroyed in that case. And it wasn't I think it was a week and a half later or two was when police actually went to the house, picked up all the evidence and whatnot, but it's all touched. Again, this is just one case, but I'm glad that law enforcement was involved and that it didn't get to a worse point. I mean, the kid had feces in his hair. They had to shave his head off. That's insanity. Wow. Dude, again, some people should not be parents. Some people should just skip that whole thing. There should be some type of way to determine this, because, dude, at the end of the day, the only one suffering here is the kids. But that's it. Because of these shitty parents, kids have to pay for this crap. And then it's just more kids that have to grow up with trauma, have to deal with this shit. Man, a whirlwind of disasters. WISN.com. Children found naked in street, mother and boyfriend charged. We'll watch this video and then we'll move on to another case.
It's really terrible. It's like something out of a horror movie.
The outside of the home on 71st Street in Milwaukee hides a nightmare that prosecutors say two boys lived through and survived.
These children were essentially confined to their room for much of their lives, and the door had a latch from the outside and the windows boarded shut. I have finally been able to review videos and photographs of the home, and I can tell you that almost every inch of their walls was covered in human feces.
The children ages 7 and 9 breaking out of what police call a terrible hoarding situation and what neighbors call a house of horrors on Thursday. The two boys escaped from this window. A neighbor saw them crawling out of the window barefoot onto the AC unit. They were able to make a run for it. That's when neighbors saw them in the street and called 911.
I'm not going to ever forget the way they looked when they came running out of that house. Never forget that.
Prosecutors say the boys were naked, covered in feces, blood, and red marks.
The look on their faces was pure bewilderment. They were just looking all around. They could not, like I said, I don't think they'd ever been outside before.
Police arrested the boy's mother, Katie Koch, and her boyfriend, Joel Mankey. Both are charged with multiple counts of chronic neglect of a child and false imprisonment. According to the complaint, the children's room had feces smeared all over the walls of the room. There was also a latch to lock the door from the outside of the kids' room. What did you notice living across from them?
Nothing. That is something all of us neighbors talked about, because we'd never seen either one of the children.
According to the complaint, medics took both boys to a hospital where their heads had to be shaved, their hair full of matted feces.
Eventually they'll learn. I mean, they'll get the help they need. And I hope they realize how people really did care about them.
Reporting in Milwaukee, Kendall Keys, WISN 12 News.
You know how bad the adoption system and the child services system is in this country? I hope for the best for those kids. I hope maybe there's a family member that takes care of them. Hope they have like grandparents or something, because wow, dude, that's crazy. You know what else is crazy? If you type on YouTube child neglect, dude, you look at so many videos. There's this one video of a police officer goes to a house, and it's kind of the same situation. It's the person's like an extreme hoarder. Kids looked horrible, dude. Like, you can tell the conditions of this house. Like, there were roaches everywhere, bro. Yeah, so if you want to go down that rabbit hole, just write it on YouTube. There's a lot of videos of that. There's a lot of horrible parents in this world. A lot of people, just fuck, dude. Work on them, dude. Just, I don't know, man. Like, just, if you're gonna live like that, just do it yourself. Fine. I understand. You're an adult. You wanna smear shit all over the walls because it makes you feel good, bro? You're an adult. Go right ahead. It's your house. But, dude, like, once you bring a child into this world, like, I don't think people fail to realize you're bringing a human being. Like, you're bringing a human being into the world that's going to replace you one day. Like, you're not immortal. You're going to die. And you create a child. And that child is going to grow up. And what you're providing for this human being is this. I understand hardships and stuff like that, but, like, willingly? Really? Come on. Just a small little test. It doesn't even have to be that long. Just some questions. Something. Hey, you know, it should be like a mandatory thing that you have to take, like, some type of, like, course before you decide to have a kid. Bro, you know, this is the reality of children. You know, it's a human being. It's a person that you're bringing that has rights and has goals, even if it's not like adult goals and stuff, but dude, it has a desire to live. And this is what they have to come into the world to. These two. Exhibit A and Exhibit B. And then on the flip side, there's so many parents out there that can't adopt a kid for some reason or another. They can't adopt a kid, and they are loving people that would give their all to have that child and to be able to raise that child properly and whatnot. And they can't get adoptions. But Tweedledee and Tweedledum here. I mean, albeit he's not the dad, but I mean, nonetheless, she's the mom. Horrible. I hope they're convicted and they stay in jail, and I hope, man, that those kids have a better chance at life, living a better life. Not that. Think about you coming into the world, dude, and you spend the first 7-8 years of your life under these conditions, fucking traumatized for the rest of your life. How are you gonna, it's gonna take like therapy and stuff for this child to be able to have some sort of normality. It's not only like the physical shit that you're doing to someone, it's like the mental, like the scars and trauma that you're inflicting onto a human being. They can't even fucking defend themselves. Telling you, dude. These people are out of their minds.